Okay, it says that I need your permission. I have your permission. Yeah, why is not letting me? It says that I need to ask for your permission. Oh, you have to be recording because
Okay.
you are the host.
Oh, awesome. All right. I've started recording. All good.
Okay, okay. Yes. You start?
Yep. Let's go.
Okay. Okay, okay. Is it recording now?
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know because I cannot see my side. Okay, cool, cool. Hey, I'm super excited. Like I'm very, very happy to be having this conversation with you and start exchanging energy and giving valuable resources for our audience in order to understand a little bit more how can they grow and evolve and shift their lives and their mindsets. So Jorde, thank you very much. Big hug from Pennsylvania to Sydney.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Barbara. Yeah, definitely. It's it's an absolute honor to meet you as well. And I understand that you're a soul coach, and I think that's really, really cool. I haven't had much experience or met many soul coaches before. So, do you want to give the audience a bit of a rundown on what a soul coach is?
Yeah, it's more like a mentor. I help you to shift your consciousness in the way where you can see a very, very big difference in your life. I work with I work with basically everyone, but my niche is women entrepreneurs that are trying to find a balance in between their spiritual life and their very busy life, and how to scale their businesses with way higher purpose than just the solely purpose of making like money and profit. Like giving back to the society. How can they contribute, and how in doing that and by being in service they will actually like the money will flow and they will grow and they will feel better and like their lives will start changing. And I can keep going and going, but yeah, that's basically what I love to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Barbara. So as you know, I'm a men's empowerment coach. I live here in Sydney, Australia, and a lot of my work is healing men, increasing their well-being, their purpose, giving them some tools and techniques and strategies to really overcome some of the self-sabotaging acts, or if they're hurting or dealing with some sort of pain and it's really affecting them. A lot of men are suffering in silence in the world and don't really want to speak
Yeah.
about what's happening for them on the inside. So a part of my job and a part of the process of working with these men is to really look at what's the story that they're attached to, or what is the pain that they're going through, and look at ways of how we can move forward so that they can really step into their power. And it's such it's such important work that I do, because it's so needed in the community and in the world. So that's a little bit about me. But so I understand that you felt really resonated with a post that I wrote. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I found you in the post of Facebook because it really resonated with me. When I saw the picture, as I was telling you, I was like, why is he a coach and he's posting? Because the first thing I saw was like the picture of you with a bottle of tequila, or I don't know what it was like. And I was like, no, his image, like he's a CEO. What is he doing? And then I started reading. I was like, oh, okay, look at that. Okay, interesting. And I started reading like about toxic people, and like how you always care about what other people think and how that influence, and how you're trying to please people all the time, and in pleasing people you detach to who you really are, and you lose the alignment. And by losing the alignment, you lose yourself. And for instance, you create a very miserable life. and you undoing things that you are not meant to do in a vibrational space, you know, like what your soul needs. So yeah, I was like, oh my god, I was like him. I was exactly like him. This is incredible. I need to have a conversation with him, like record it and upload it to the channel and to the audience. And I think they're gonna like, there's a lot of people that will probably be resonating with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's and you know, that's a big part of, you know, the journey, is that, you know, I was a massive people pleaser. I was a huge people pleaser. And it was really just draining my energy, and it really just turning me into this person that I was not. You know, I wasn't being, you know, authentically as myself, and I would often become like this other person, and you know, it was kind of like, because, you know, that was the version that, you know, they liked the most. So it was kind of like I was pretending to be someone else and not truly being myself. And so, yeah, it was, and that went on for many, many years. And it wasn't until, I was around about 28 years old where something had to shift. Something had to happen within myself to make a change, you know, to change my mindset. Otherwise, I probably would have ended up dead. You know, I was just going,
of course,
you know, to a place where, you know, I didn't want to go, and so I had to make that conscious decision around, you know, changing my mindset for the better. And so I reached out to a life coach, and his name was Lee Bundy, and he was my first life coach. And I went to a 6-day men's retreat over in Bali in Indonesia, and it was truly the catalyst of change. It was truly the catalyst of change that really, you know, made me think, wow, what am I doing? I'm literally just, you know, wasting my energy, wasting my time, wasting my life. So I came back after the 6 days in Bali from the retreat. I just came back a new, fresh man. I had, you know, new ideas. You know, I wanted to impact the world. I wanted to empower men, because I know that a lot of men are doing the exact same thing as me. And, you know, I wanted to, create that change for them as well. So, since then, it's been, you know, a massive, massive journey. I've, you know, like you said before, it's easy to, you know, to make the shifts, but in terms of the process, it is hard. You know, you have to stay disciplined. You have to, you know, constantly always check in with yourself. And, you know, one tip that that I would give the viewers who are viewing this is, you know, I always ask myself powerful questions. And what I mean by that is powerful questions, you know, lead to powerful answers. And once we get answers, and once we get those answers, you know, we get clarity. And so one of the things that I ask myself, if I'm ever going to choose something for me, because it's all about choices at the end of the day, I always say, you know, will this serve me? Will this serve me? Will this get me closer to where I want to be in life, or will it not? Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think there's this author that I love. Her name is Mel Robbins, and she talks about her life, she talks about exactly what you're saying. She always says like life, where you're standing right now in life, is just the result of every single decision that you have made every single day, because you have the choice. You know, like, you know what is getting you closer into your goal, and you know what is not getting you closer into your goal. But sometimes, like, we're so used to do what is in our comfort zone that we just go into the other way, because the other thing requires more effort, requires more energy, requires more thinking, and requires change. And change is scary. We all are so trained to be scared of change and to resist the change that why doing that if I can just like keep doing what everyone is doing, you know, like go to work, go to my place, have a beer and sleep, and do not nurture my mind, do not nurture my life, do not nurture like life, like other people, which is like we're here to co-create because we are creators, we're always in expansion. So I really relate to that because I was the same. I was in the same spot a few years ago, and when I was 25, I was like, you know, like I hit rock bottom, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like I was all depressed, just like not going out of my room for 2 weeks, just like drinking nonstop for 2 weeks, like watching Netflix, living in my dad's house, you know, like broken, like in a bad dark place. And then I was like, what am I doing? Like there was a point where I felt like I'm gonna die if I keep doing this. Like if I keep doing this, I'm gonna die. So I don't have like, or I kill myself or I move on. But moving on requires a lot of energy, and I don't know if I'm ready. But I don't want to like die like this. It's so depressive, and you know. And so yeah, like I took the choice, and I started like doing a lot of life change. I moved from to the United States. Like I'm from Mexico City, so I like moved to the United States. Like new adventures. Oh my God, like it's been crazy. But that choice is the one that saved my life and the one that led me to a way much better life, which I never thought like I would have, you know. And I feel that when you realize that there's no going back, like there's no going back, you you just like literally make a shift that there's no going back, and make the choice and keep moving forward. That's the only path. And what I read on your post about like toxic people, about um, trying to please people, it's just like so true, because I was just surrounded by so many toxic people, and trying to please them was like, it was not being me. So that's why I was like, it was like the root cause of everything. That's why your post really resonated. I gets it. Like been there, done that, you know? And yeah, it's very interesting how all this works.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally resonate with, 100% of everything, you've said. And, like I said before, there's so many people out there, both men and women that are, in need of support, that need that guidance. And I really love the fact how, you touched on co-creating, because we're all
Yeah.
creating, we're living in expansion and things like that. And it is so true. You can create the impact, you can create the change that you want to see in the world. And I've had these talks with other coaches, both male and female, and every one of them has a goal and has a purpose to impact the world in their own unique way. And I just want to acknowledge the hard work and effort that you're putting in, to your audience and your clients, because it is so needed. Because, growing up, I lived in a place where, crime rate was pretty high, and, there was a lot of, people that, were doing the wrong things, and, in that kind of environment. And so, growing up seeing that, I thought that's what the world was like. That's what, everywhere else was like. But, until you, like you said, until you make those shifts and those changes, that's when the true magic happens. But I wanted to touch on something, that I think would be, benefit to, both our audiences. And, you mentioned it, I think before as well, about, vibration and, things like that. What would you say to your audience about, that wanted to learn a little bit more about vibration, and vibration work?
How vibration work? Well, if I know something, I know that not all of my audience are related with the subject, but they're interested, and that's why they contact me, because it's like, it's not like if you're not interested in something, but you contact someone that is, you know. So they have like slightly idea. They believe they are vibration, but what I would like to say is like, it's more like you are energy, okay? That energy is always in expansion, and that energy, it's in different frequencies. So it can vibrate on a frequency of depression, which is like the lowest, and it can vibrate of an anger, which is better to be in the frequency of anger, because then that can lead you and that can empower you to jump into a frequency of joy. But if you're in the frequency of depression, you cannot just like jump into the frequency of joy, because it's impossible, you know. So when they ask me like, Parks, what, like, do I have to, like, how do I feel joy all the time? It's like, you cannot be feeling joy all the time, because we are humans and we believe in conditions, and those conditions create our, you know, our belief systems, our actions, our frequency, our vibration. So what I would say is like, you don't have to feel joy every single second. Or when they ask me, how can I be happy forever? It's like, you don't have to be happy forever. We live in a world of contrast, but thanks to the contrast, you know what you want. Thanks to the contrast, you're having an experience that maybe not very lovely, that you're not enjoying that much, but out from that experience, you have the contrast, so you know you don't want that. So that will like, you know, like take rockets of desire of what you do want. Like, okay, I don't want that, but I want this. Then you move from this space to that space. So basically, having all this understanding of how energy works, and how it's not just about changing your mindset and repeating like positive, you know, phrases and quotes, and, you know, it's about like, actually it's work. It's like energy work. It's all about energy work, because you are part of the source, and the source is like what I call, what you can call God, the universe, higher power, the creator, energy source, whatever. Like, we are an extension of that, and we are just like spiritual entities having this material experience. This matter, this body will disappear one day, but like energy will be flowing, and then you will go into another body, or not. It all depends what you decide to do, you know. So getting from the level of the soul, of the level of energy, when you understand that, then you can understand how you have control of your life, and how can you change your life. And that's the mindset that I'm talking about, not just the mindset of being depressed to happy and jumping, just like the mindset of how like you can go like step by step until you have the truly understanding, and not intellectually understanding, like the core understanding that you are energy. And you know the law, energy just transforms. It never disappears, or it gets destroyed, or it's been created. It's always in expansion. So that is what that's what I do with my coaches, you know. Not just like tell them, okay, do this to feel happy, and just like repeat to yourself every single day that you're okay, which it also works. I'm not diminishing the fact that the affirmation works. They work in an energy level. With you like hold the affirmation for 17 seconds and with an emotion, yes, it works, but it just go into another level of awareness per se. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't know.
No, that's awesome, Barbara. I'm glad you touched on a few things there. You know, around, you know, spiritual growth and that, and I think it's so important that you know, our audiences understand that. Yeah, yes, we are energy, and yes, we are conscious beings having a human experience, and that, you know, energy can't be destroyed. It is forever. It is, you know, and
Infinite.
Yeah, it's infinite, absolutely. And, you know, we are co-creating with the creator, and, you know, whether that be God or the universe or the higher power or the source, whatever people believe in, or their belief systems, that's okay. But, you know, we are, you know, one with, you know, the creator. You know, we came from it or him or her or whatever it is, but
Yeah.
we have, you know, we are co-creating all the time. And exactly right. Like with the work that I do with my men, like, you know, there's a lot of suppressed emotions in there that you know, I encourage to come to the surface, because, you know, it's not just all about being happy all the time and all that kind of stuff. You need to feel these raw, deep emotions within yourself, whether that be sadness, whether that be hurt, whether that be anger, and that, because what you're doing is you're dealing with your own shit, so to speak. You're
Oh
actually,
yeah.
you know, allowing those
Yeah.
those emotions to come to the surface and go, okay, now that I can deal with that and I can acknowledge that it's there, then you can heal. You can heal from that, and let those, you know, those low vibration energies, you know, released from your body. And that's what we're doing. It's a constant, you know, constantly just, you know, releasing, you know, and making space for what matters in our life.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm so glad that you know, you touched on a lot of those topics in, you know, with what you just said, because it is just, like I said, it's so important that, you know, our viewers that are watching this understand that, you know, like you don't have to be happy 24/7. You know, if you feel sad or you feel hurt, you know, it's always good to express those emotions, but don't ever, you know, attach yourself to them, because you know, like I say, all suffering comes from attachment. So, you know,
Yeah.
you can only suffer if you're attached to it. So if you're attached to the story of sadness, or the pain that you're going through, or, you know, if you're attached to, you know, maybe an ex-partner or something like that, and you still have the memories in there, you know, that can cause a lot of pain and a lot of sadness, which
Pain.
ultimately, yeah, which
But
ultimately,
it's okay. It's
yeah,
okay. It's all right to feel pain.
oh yeah,
It's like we're humans. Like we're here to experience all those emotions. Without our
exactly.
bodies, we could not be even able to have those emotions. But things like you say, do not get attached to those emotions,
Mm,
and realize that you are not that pain. That pain is
exactly.
here because you have to feel it. And like
Mm,
Dr. Wayne Dyer said in one of his books, he said, like, there's always time for everything. There's always time to experience pain. There's always time to experience happiness, joy,
mm,
sadness, depression, anger, you know? You
mm.
are, yeah, definitely.
And I totally agree with that, because, you know, that's you know, what I teach my clients, and that is that, you know, it's okay to feel those emotions and go through that, but yeah, don't ever attach yourself to those things, because, you know, that sets off the vibration, and what we, you know, what we vibrate at, you know, the frequency, we attract, you know, other
Oh,
frequencies,
yeah.
you know. So it's so important, you know, the work that we're doing, and getting the message out there. So I think it's amazing what we're both doing here.
Yeah, and it's just it's just so amazing when I got into this discovery that what you actually think you attract and you create in your life. That I keep learning, you know, every single day I keep learning, and I keep like being amazed. Like, for example, in my personal life, I don't mind sharing this. I just got out of a very toxic relationship
Mm,
with a narcissist, and in the moment while I was in the relationship, I was not feeling good. Like, I even stopped my work for a while. Like, you know, I was not feeling good, and I was like
mm,
so sad. But I was so attached to this person,
mm.
and you know, like how the narcissists work. They like isolate you from all the people, like make you feel that they're your only source, blah 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 blah, and all that stuff. And when I got out of that relationship, I felt free again. Like I felt like a weight off my shoulders. Yes, I was very sad for like 2 weeks. I was like extremely, like I'm human, I feel, and it was funny because my mother used to tell me like, use all your tools. You think positive. I'm like, I am a human. I feel like it's time for me to experience this pain in order to grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's the only part I like. It's, you need that pain. You need that contrast. You need it to grow. So after all of this, when I was in the relationship, I knew that I didn't want it to be there. Like for weeks, I was like, how can I leave him? Like, this is not for me. And then trying to convince myself like, oh no, but I love him. I should stay here. But I was not feeling good. So I was having like these opposite things. And one thing led to the other. And we broke up. And I was like, I attract this. Like for like 2 months, I was like not feeling well. Like I attract this. I definitely attract this. I know I did it because the way things happened, it just like the way everything ended. It's there's no way that I could not have attracted that breakup. But it was like I learned so much, and I keep learning that it is experiences you were saying about the attachment. Like the tough part is just like letting go, because you get attached to people, to things, to situations, to periods in your life, and that is what causes us pain. So I want to ask you, like, what is the approach that you have in this matter with your clients? Because I know that being, like the gender issues, each gender has, or you work with guys, I work with girls, like guys have this weight on their shoulders that they have to be carrying, that they have to be the providers, they have to have a great job, they have to like be the strong, they cannot cry, and the woman is the opposite. They have to be like like fragile and like loving, attentive, blah 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 blah. So with guys it's totally different. I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I teach my clients, my male clients, is that, both men and women have masculine energy and feminine energy. And, it's okay to, understand that, we have both. We both shift in our masculine energies and we both shift in our feminine energies. And it's so important for men to not get caught up in, being overly masculine, or, because it can lead to toxic masculinity, which is, the definition of, my definition of toxic masculinity is basically a man who won't allow himself to feel those emotions, whether it be sadness, pain, hurt, any of those emotions. And because he's been conditioned in a way since birth to think that crying is weak, that speaking about feelings is weak, when in fact that is just a bullshit lie. Really keep men down. They haven't, it's really killing men, because of, they're denying access pretty much of being a human being. They're being, they're denying access to their own human emotions. And it's so important, I think, for men to feel those feelings, because the more men that dive deep within themselves to really, bring forth their emotions and can really, understand their emotions, they're going to really, benefit from that. But not only that, but their partners, their wives, or, their boyfriends, depending on their, their sex or whatever, their partners in general are going to get a massive, benefit from this, because, men who understand their feelings and their emotions are going to be far more better partners in relationships. Because, I've spoken to a lot of women, and, one thing that is a common trend that I've spoken to them about when I talk to them about the work that I do is that, they want their man to open up. They want their man to, be more emotional and provide emotional support for, when for their woman or, for their partner. And
Mhm.
it's so paramount that, guys understand that feminine energy, is so important because, you know, without you knowing your own emotions, how can you provide as a man to your partner? And that's one of the powerful questions that I ask. It's so paramount and important that, guys understand this, that, it's okay to
Yeah.
feel those feelings. It's okay to have emotions. It's okay to cry. It's so okay to cry, because what you're doing is you're healing. You're really, really healing yourself in order to grow. And so that's what I would my advice would be to guys out there is, yeah, it's quite okay, when you're feeling the masculine energy and you've got to do what you've got to do in a relationship, whether it be provide, get stuff done, take action, keep your word, that kind of stuff, then definitely, you can, step up, step into your power. But then also you can shift into your feminine energy and provide emotional support to your partner. Listen
Yeah.
to her, understand what her needs are, allow her, provide that safe space for her to confide in you. And, when she is feeling down or when something is upsetting her, create the space for her so that she can feel safe enough and vulnerable enough to open up. And that's what it's all about. If men don't understand that, then that, a woman isn't going to stick around with a man who can't understand her emotional needs. And that is the truth.
So basically, you teach them how to tap into their feminine energy to create that space of comfort and like security for them to have a better relationship with their girls. I mean, like not the girl, like their mothers, their sisters, their girlfriends, wives, cousins, neighbor, whatever. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's great because that can create a sense of self security.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a sense of self security, like you feel invincible, and then it's just amazing how a little shift and how a little understanding in the root cause of, let's say, the biggest issue in your life is that you want to improve your relationships. It always comes from that. Like, just have to like heal a little bit in your energy. It's like, pick, like everything goes like this, and just like there's a little stick going in. You're like, you can put it back on the track, and then you can like keep going and keep moving forward and grow and evolve and like be better. That's so amazing. And in your own path, what was your root cause, for example? Like, what caused you to make the shift? If you want to share, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was the fact that I was just constantly self-sabotaging myself. It was the fact that I was, attached to, past stories and memories that, were keeping me at a low vibration, that, were keeping me in a negative mindset. And, it was those things that really, forced me to really look at myself and look at, the man in the mirror and say, is this how I want to live for the rest of my life? Do I really want to live, feeling in pain, or, do I really want to feel, these low vibrations that are just keeping me down, that are not
Yeah.
allowing me to step into my power? So I needed to take responsibility. I needed to call myself out on my own shit. I needed to, really face the facts and say, Jorde, you need to change. You're paying the price of pain, and everyone else is paying the prices of your pain too, because I wasn't dealing with my own shit. You know what I'm saying? And there's
Yeah.
so many people out there, both men and women, who are paying the price of pain but aren't doing anything about it, and because of that, everyone else around them is suffering, whether that be their partner, their families, their friends, their co-workers, whoever comes in contact with them will suffer as well, because they're not doing nothing about dealing with their own shit. And
Oh my God, yeah.
and that's why it's so important as coaches to really, call out our clients on their own bullshit story or their own shit, that they can't see themselves. Sometimes they need someone to give them a bit of a wake up call and a bit of a, hey, how you doing? It's time to, make the shifts, because if you don't, this is what could potentially happen. And, I'm so grateful that I've made those shifts, and, I've started my own coaching business, Jorde Illinois Coaching. And, that started in last year in January 2017. And, I'm growing and expanding the business in 2018, which is really, really awesome. But, it all happened from making that shift. It all happened from, showing up and going, you know what, I'm going to make these shifts, because if I don't, I'm never going
Yeah.
to be, in my power. So
You will just come back in a new body and have to repeat the experiences again, and we don't want that.
Exactly. So yeah,
It's a long process, painful process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's just like sometimes, even though you talk to people and you tell them, like, look, for example, a friend, like, hey, you would like put your shit together. The thing like putting your shit together is like get a job, get a house, get a wife or a husband, have your kids, and that's how you have your shit together. Then you put your shit together and you feel sorry for the world, but you still fucked, It's like, and then you are like, what is wrong with my life? I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm unhappy. I've done like everything everyone told me that I'm supposed to do. Like, so why am I feeling this way? And there you go. Like the suicidal rates and, depression in between not just American people, like the world population, and unhappiness and joy and all that energy, like all that energy in between all these people, it's co-creating the world that we're living in, like even though they know or they don't know. So it's very important, at least if you see through like a bigger picture of how are we co-creating the world right now, and how like the core it comes whenever I always used to laugh when everyone said like, oh, it all begins with you. It's like you have to put your little piece of sand. I was like, what's the bullshit? Like, that's not true. And then I realized, like, oh my God, I really do understand the core of that quote, like, oh my God, like everyone, like everything that I had in my mind just like suddenly went all clear. I was like, I can see clearly now. Like I can see, like I get it. I freaking get it. And I got so excited that I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to change my life. I'm going to like be a mentor for this. And then we go back to what you're saying. Just like it starts with you. And sometimes even though people tells you to change, you won't change until something happens and life smacks your face or kick your butt. To be like,
absolutely.
Wake up, pa, 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 Well, at least that happened to me. It was so sad. But it was very useful. I think I needed that so bad.
Absolutely. And, it's so true. I think, the universe, it always puts people in your path for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. Like everything happens for a reason. There are no accidents.
Yeah.
And sometimes when those accidents do happen, those are the wake up calls. It was kind of like, when I was, even long before when I was 24, before the shifts happened, I was in a car crash and I could have easily lost my life. But, I look back now and I think that was the universe waking me up saying, how precious is life? How precious is it? And, I've never told anyone that. I mean, there's some people that know about the car crash, but, you know, this is the first time that I've spoken about it. And, you know, you would have thought that I would have woken up then, but I didn't. And, you know, fast forward 4 years later when I turned 28, and, you know, I finally, you know, I hit rock bottom. And then that's when the moment when I realized, you know, saying before, that I needed to make these shifts, I need to make these changes. So, you know, and having someone like yourself, you know, out there who is, you know, waking people up, you know, making them realize that life is a gift, you know, you're co-creating with the creator, you know, vibration work, energy work, you know, it is so important, you know, what you're doing. And, yeah, so the more people that can wake up and can realize that, I think the world is going to be a much better place.
Yeah, definitely. It's sometimes I know, like, I know I'm not here to be like, hey, you wake up, you know, like it's more like preaching with the example, because you are the mirror of what you are the mirror, like everyone's a mirror. Like, I don't know who's your idol. For example, my coach is Gabrielle Bernstein. So she's like the mirror of what I could achieve, you know. And when she was coaching me, and she was speaking, and she was like telling me, Barbara, no, look, this way, that way. I was like, oh my God, if she can do it, like I can do it too, you know. And that's how it all started changing. And I think that's how primary, I don't know, like works, you know. Or maybe that's my personal my personal thought, because you can inspire through action. So we can do a chain, you know, like I inspire you, you inspire me, you inspire other, blah blah blah, and then we're all inspired taking action. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, and it's you know, it's that ripple effect, isn't it? It's, you know, you impact one person's life, and then they empower themselves, and then they impact someone else's life, and then they empower themselves. And, you know, it just starts off small, and then it just ripples out, doesn't it? You know, and the more people that can do that, you know, like I said, the world's going to be in a better place. But I want to quickly touch on something what you said just before about how people are mirrors, and it is so true. I seen a quote, and I think I put it up on Facebook a few weeks ago, but I think it said something upon the lines of that, you know, we're all mirrors, and you're either meeting someone who is a repeated pattern of your past or a new guide. And I just thought, wow. And
oh my God,
the more awareness that I have of that when I meet someone for the first time, and then I become aware of who they are, they're either someone who was me in my past life and repeated, you know, those that same negative mindset, or, you know, they're doing patterns that I've repeated in my life, that, you know, self-sabotaging patterns and negative behavior.
yeah.
Or I meet someone who is just completely, you know, a totally, you know, transformed, evolved version of myself. Someone who is a guide that, you know, is, you know, changing the world, impacting the world. And I think, wow, the more that I can realize that, and I can choose who I really want to hang around with, it's a game changer. It absolutely is. And so now I'm that aware of people now than I'm ever before, you know, and I'm so selective in 2018 who I choose to be around with is so important. Do you agree? I can tell you got
oh
something.
My God. I'm like, I want to
tell me.
Yeah, I'm like, keep going, the momentum. Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, you're so fucking right. Like, so fucking right. But it takes us, like, well, at least for me, it took me like so long to understand that. I used to be like this party girl with a lot of friends, you know, like, oh yeah, I have my group of friends, we're going party, yeah, because we're super cool. Now I think about it, I'm like, oh, okay. I have to accept that part of my life. It's gone. It was what I thought that it was the right thing to do back in the time, you know, like I forgive myself, blah, 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 blah. But right now I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want to be with it. I don't want to like orbit into this person because it's like sucking my energy. And like that happened with my ex-boyfriend, for example. It's like he was my mirror, like the mirror of what I need to heal in myself. He was the mirror of like my own wounds and projections. And that's why I'm like so grateful he appeared in my life, because in a soul level, we made like this soul contract that, you know, like that he was going to appear to teach me, because we all are students and teachers of the universe. And having that knowing, it's easier to let go. I mean, it's not easy to get into the place of that understanding, and not in an intellectual level, but more in a soul, deeper energy level. But once you get it, like everything starts smoothing. Like as I tell some of my coaches, like there's a spiritual solution for absolutely everything. You don't want to call it spiritual solution, don't call it a spiritual solution, call it energy solution, like a deeper solution than just the surface of who our human in the regular consciousness can see, you know. So it's amazing how it all comes equally of how we relate to people, to toxic people. We're wearing these masks, you know. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, then you attract into your orbit like nice people, you know, to like you, for example, that we're having this awesome conversation. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that can relate with everything that we're saying. And that is what makes that is what it is, like makes strong connections, like real and deeper connections with another human being, in another just like than a surface level of, okay, let's hang out and go for beers and watch the Super Bowl. And then you never hear from that person until 2 weeks later that they want to hang out again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that happened. That happened to me. Like, I don't want that anymore. No, thank you.
Absolutely. And I think it's, you're absolutely right. The more vulnerable that we can be, the more, deeper connections that we have as human beings, because, that's why I go deep within my posts. I expose my vulnerability, because there are, like I said, as you know, there are people out there that are experiencing the same things. And if they don't, if you don't go first, if you don't go first and be vulnerable, then no one else will. So the more I show my vulnerability, the more deeper levels of connections that I have with other men, and the more men that open up, then the more men I can impact change. And I guess it's the same thing as for you as well.
Yeah, it's just for girls, what I found is that it's more about self-reliance. And I don't want to like go into that point, but a lot has to be because how they relate to their men, like how think they've been treated or mistreated, that their autoesteem has been like going into the floor, into the deep ground, and how they are detached from their own feminine divine, because they think the value relies on their sexuality, which it's a way other, like way bigger spectrum of like for another conversation. But like that self-reliance is what I like to share, like you can rely on yourself, but we are so used and we're like taught since we were kids that you cannot rely on yourself, because what if something happens, like you cannot trust this stranger, because what if he poisons you? Like the world is a dangerous place. You need to strive, you need to struggle, you need to distrust. I mean, with this, I don't mean that you have to, like, you never have to take care of yourself. Of course, you have to take care of yourself and be cautious. But what I mean is, like, you can rely on yourself if you want to do something for yourself. And otherwise, no one will do it for yourself. And I knew this the hard way. Like I knew this like in the really, really, really hard way. Like a big example with girls that I was talking about is and the relationships that with every relationship with a guy that I've had, it has helped me grow like immensely. Like a lot of my understanding of life and my learnings have come from relationships, you know, maybe not a car accident or maybe not like losing my family or maybe nothing like that in thankfully in my experience, but my learnings have come from relationships. And I've learned self-reliance because I used to rely on the guy that I was dating. I used to rely, like I used to make him my entire world and project my own insecurities and project my own needs on him. And then when the relationship ends, I was left with nothing, you know, like it was like who I am, like what am I here? And that's when the depression arises. And that's like a very common denominator, thankfully. And throughout a lot of process of working and coaching and mentorships and the coaching certification on like energy healing and all that stuff, I came to the realizations that you need self-reliance in order to basically survive. You
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. So Barbara, so we've we've reached up to our 1 hour in the
Perfect.
interview. So is there any last words that you would like to say to the audience or anything like that?
Last words. I would never have last words. I can talk and talk for hours, believe me. But what I would like to say, just to close our amazing conversation, is it takes the same amount of energy to think about something good than to think about something negative. You know, we always have the choice, and that choice has a gap of 17 seconds. If you can maintain that thought for 17 seconds and put all your focus on that thought, then your emotions will change, and so your vibration, and so your frequency. But it all depends on the choice that you make. If you want to choose like the victim, you know, like, oh my God, my life is so bad for 17 seconds, okay, then that's what you're going to have. But if you can just like use the same amount of energy to focus on another stuff that it's not that, like take the energy away from that thought and then just like sing in your head, count something that is distracting, you know, like 5 4 3 2 1, 5 4 3 2 1 repeatedly, a mantra, whatever, then it makes a difference. It's very simple, maybe not easy, but it's simple. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Barbara, for this wonderful energy exchange. I am positive that our audience is going to take a lot away, some gold nuggets and some tips on how to, you know, make the changes, make the shifts, to become a better version of themselves. And if there's any links or anything like that to contact you on, I'm more than happy to put them on
Sure.
the post, and so they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, awesome, Jorde. That's amazing. Thank you as well for giving me your time to have this cool like exchange of energy, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.